the next visualization I want to create is a scatter chart or a scatter plot. So let's get to it. Firstly, I'm going to go to View and I'm going to select Data. I always like to do that. I like this data pane to open up on the right hand side so I can see the variables I'm using. And then I'm going to go back to the home area and I'm going to, from my drop down where it says my visual gallery, it shows all the visuals that are available. I'm going to select the scatter chart. Scatter chart is now opens up the build the visual. So now I just need to drag my x-axis and my y-axis across. I start with house prices on the bottom and GDP on the y-axis. And if I just click away, click on this, this doesn't give me a scatter plot. This gives me one big dot. But if I hover over that dot, I can see it's done something. It's called, it has summed all the values in that time period. And it's summed them all together. And I need to disaggregate them, unsummarize them. So how do I do that? It would be the question I have and the question you have. So to do that, so it's quite common Power BI doing this, but you see where it now says x-axis, it says sum of sheet 1 house prices. On the arrow, aggregation where it says sum, click on don't summarize. And then all of a sudden you have this opened up really, really nicely. So now let's close this down. So this is my scatter plot. I now need to improve the look and feel, the visuals, to help me tell my story. So let's start off with, so again, to help me here, I go to my view and I click on format. This opens up the format pane that I'm going to work with. I'm going to select a visual border. If I wanted to, I could change some of the conditions of that visual border, but I'm happy as it is. So I'm going to have a border around it. I'm going to go to the title. And I can change the text. And again, trying to make a meaningful title because this is part of a presentation. So I'm going to make that very large. So it would be in line with the others. I'm going to include a background color. I'm going to include a subtitle. Make that a little bit larger too. And I'm going to include a divider so it works through there. Excellent. So I have that in place now. If I so wish, I could start to turn some of those x-axis and y-axis off, or I could change the text in them. I'm absolutely fine with that. I do need to get rid of the where it says sum. So another way of changing the text is to double click on the thing you want to do or change. It opens it up, and here we can just say annual GDP, and I'm going to call this national income just because it'll help the economists in the room. National income. So I've made that fine there. I've got some percentages to work with. So that's great. I'm now going to click back on this, go back into my pane. Markers are fine. I'm going to include a trend line. So that's a trend line. That's really nice. And now I want to start to annotate this so that I can pick up some more key information. In particular, highlight this value here, which is 2.6 house prices annual change and GDP annual change of -9.80. This was the value in 2020, which corresponds to the UK COVID lockdown, and I need to put that information on my diagram. So that's how do we do that? So let's go to Insert. Let's go to, first off, I'm going to take a shape because I need to highlight it. And I'm going to select a downward arrow. I'm going to make it a lot smaller. So it's quite obvious what I'm looking at there. And then I'm going to put my text in. Going to make that a little bit larger so it's legible. And also make it this is where you work it as you so wish, just to make sure it's nice and legible based on the size of your visual. I've got lots of space here, so I'm going to put that into there, which is really fine. And I'm going to try and just identify this trend line a bit better, so that again it's very clear that it is a trend line. It should be quite clear, but let's see what we can do with this. This is where you start to go to town really and enjoy yourself. So again, I can put that information in here. It's quite obvious then. I have a trend line, and I'm saying the higher the annual percentage change in house prices, the higher the percentage change in national income. That's what the trend is telling me. I've clearly identified, so this is lockdown period of 2020. That's my outlier. I've got a nicely named simple laid out axis, clear title. I'm really happy with this visualization. I think this will work really nicely in my presentation.